Alright, I am going to say something, and a lot of people may not agree with it, but I'm going to say it anyway. This album, Revival by Eminem, it is possibly the worst album he's come out with since he's been back. And let me explain to you why. For him, worst for him is still good. I'm not saying this is bad, this is trash, this is garbage. For him, this is probably, to me, his more mediocre of the ones that he has compiled, constructed, and has come out with for the public to digest. Reasons being, there are decisions that were made in this album that should not have left the cutting room floor, some of which were on the cutting room floor, but from other projects, but were put on here, and there's no way that they weren't put on here, or inspiration was taken from those cutting room floor projects and put on here. Case in point, first, let me just get out the way. Any of you people who say, well, you didn't like it because you like Lil Pump, you didn't like it because you like Lil Xan, Trippie Redd, Tekashi, I hate those people. I hate them niggas. I do not like them. Never have, never will. There may be a song or two that maybe one of them might make that I may like. No. Maybe, no. There's a couple who do, but these people are within the moment. They are stuck within the prism that is now. They will not expand. They do not have potential to grow outside of the box that they are in. They will not be here 3 years from now. They will not be here 10 years from now. No one will remember them. Eminem is timeless. He is the greatest. He is one of the greatest, top two, three higher than that. But that does not mean that the greatest of all time, the GOATs of any genre, cannot make something that is either below average or is not up to par. Michael Jackson has made things that were not up to par. Elvis has made things not up to par. There have been people who do things that are not up to par, and I don't think anyone is above scrutiny or criticism. I love Eminem. I have all of his albums. I listen to Infinite. I've absorbed all of his projects. A certain amount of M fans can't say that they did. They just know Slim Shady LP is his first album. No, it's not. Infinite is. Go and look that up on Wikipedia. Go and look at an Eminem documentary. Go and rewatch 8 Mile. Because you need a history lesson. But for me, songs that I came away from this album with, that I love, and they will be put into the playlist. It will be put into the rotation on constant spin sometimes. Need Me. Offended. He went off on Offended in the last 20-30 seconds, rap god style, and then he had a playful banter saying everyone hates me, like the way he did it. Amazing. This is why he's where he is, and this is why people love him and why they do what he does. So, Need Me, Offended, Walk on Water, we already talked about that. Amazing. Tragic Endings, Believe, Framed, In Your Head, Castle, A Rose. And we're going to get to Castle and A Rose in a second, because that in and of itself is an entire video that we're going to try to compile and get it through as clearly as possible. Out of those songs I like, I came away from this album with about 9 songs but that's just about half. The other half could honestly not be there, and I could care less. The best feature on this album was Beyonce. The second best was Kehlani, and Kehlani did great. Almost like a close second, something like that. They complimented each other well as Beyonce. She complimented him well in Walk on Water. That's the point in being why he got her there. There is no other star that is on his level like that he can get that would make sense to be put on a feature like that, which is why she is there. But then, the problem with this album is that the hooks are bad. Either bad or they're mediocre. The instrumentals of a lot of these songs aren't done properly. The features are pretty bad. Outside of just 2, Chloroseptic, to me, I despised the hell out of that song. But I had to re-listen to it, and I had to sit and dwell upon it in order to fully appreciate it within the context of the album and understand what it's saying. It is basically a parody of rappers who do that now. That's why it sounds like Migos and Futures. And Futures. He's doing it on purpose. At first, I was so angry. I was ready to rip the sun out of the night sky. Because right now it's night. I would make a sun appear and rip it. I was so angry. But I had to re-listen to it. I understand what was going for there. But to me, it was one of the worst songs. Just because of the way it sounded, the way it was delivered. But it got so ridiculous at one point. He started lagging. He was on red bar on the song. Bad internet connection. He was like, why is it in her vagina? Oh! And I was like, what? What just happened? I couldn't stop. I had to. That was hilarious. It got so to the point that I started listening to it just because it's funny. But that's what artists like Eminem can do. Even when something is bad, sometimes you can re-listen to it over and over again because of maybe bad. You still like it. His worst songs are some of these other rappers' best songs in their career. There is a clear level. There are levels to this. There is power scaling. He is on a different tier than them. They have a whole trash album and can't come out with one line that's worth any of his throwaway lines. And he casually mentions that throughout the album. But the problem is he has a couple of dumb, ill-conceived bars that just, I don't know what he was thinking. Looking at examples. Like a dictionary, things are looking up. Started from the bottom like a snowman. On his back like a jetpack. Your booty is heavy duty like diarrhea. Oh my God. And girl, you're smoking like Snoop Dogg. But your booty is heavy duty like diarrhea. I had to pause the song. I had to pause the song and reevaluate my life because he actually said that to be serious. It wasn't something like, oh, I'm a rap guy. I can say whatever I want. I know it's bad, but I'm going to say it anyway. But no. He said it. He put that on that. He wrote that down and that went on. I was like, I had to pause it. And I had to just take it. I had to look in the mirror. I had to reevaluate my being, my state of existence. Because that's how bad. That is pretty horrible. That's one of the worst lines I've heard him have since Encore or something like that. But you've had Chloroseptic. What a bad, untouchable. I'm sorry, I just can't. That song itself is untouchable. I just can't get it. The second half, he cleans it up. But the instrumental, it's too jagged. It doesn't mix properly with what he's saying. It's just, and I get he's talking from the perspective of a white racist cop he then transitions into a black man who is being persecuted by that said white cop. I get that. But people can do conscious and still not pull it off properly. I felt the same way about Joey's last album, Joey Badass's last album. I did not care for that because it was just things that everyone already knows, which some of this album is already, we already know how bad Trump is. At this point, we can't say any more than anyone else has not heard. After the dig that you made at him at BET, which he has said numerous times, he is angry that Trump did not respond, which I am shocked that Trump did not respond when he argues with everyone. He literally argues with everyone. He'd argue with kids if you let him within a school zone. But he didn't say anything back at all. If he doesn't say anything back now, I know for a fact he is scared of Eminem, but I don't blame him. But now I want everybody to think about this for a second. If Eminem right now, if Revival wasn't even coming out, and this was Slim Shady LP2, people would have lost their minds. Tell me who would have taken offense and would have responded to him rapping out of today's trash. Nobody. Maybe like one or two. and they would have thrown something together like, Slim Shady is trash, hey, Slim Shady is trash, hey. That's all they would have said. Garbage. They don't have the talent. They don't have the audacity to come back to him. There are so many more targets now than there was early 2000s. It was pretty ridiculous in early 2000s, but today it's just a cesspool of fuckery. You can get Catch Me Outside Girl, Lil Pump, Ugly Guy, Lil Uzi, Kodak Black, Lil Xan, Trippie Redd, Tekashi. All of these people. You can get Kevin Spacey. You can get Harvey Weinstein. So many targets, man. So many targets. It's red dots everywhere. You can't miss. And even if you would miss, you would hit someone who's just as trash. But he just doesn't do it. He devoted that one song, Chloroseptic, to them. And he was like, there's nothing like... He's like, you and me are not alike. Outside of the air that we breathe, there's nothing alike. I get that. But he could get so many people, and he just doesn't do it. And I understand he's at a different place in his life. He has grown. He has gotten more. He is stronger than he was. Even though I hate that song from Marshall Mathers LP 2. But he is stronger now. He doesn't have to reduce himself to that level. But if he chose to do so, people would get that work, and they would get that smoke, and they would not say anything. Because he is Eminem. I just wish he would get more at it. He just goes at Trump family, Trump and everything else. That's too easy to target. That man's target is the size of the earth. You can't get a bigger target than that. You could miss and still hit him. Too big. I mean, yeah, keep getting at him. He got at him pretty good, calling him a Nazi and everything else. Talked about his Twitter. No one else does that. But at this point, I mean, it's like, what more can you say? It's like everybody is desensitized by how bad Trump is. But he goes and makes it a point to devoting a couple bars every other song to him. Which to me, I mean, it needs to be said. But at the same time, like, But the songs that I did take away from this, 2 or 3 of them sounded like songs from other projects. Castle. Arose, how he rewinded it and he corrected his mistake. Castle being he's literally building something for his daughter to sit upon. He's building a throne for her to sit upon. Haley, who's going to college and all that stuff now. He's like, I built this for you. And then at the time he was thinking about quitting. He's built this entire empire for his kids. Amazing. When he talks about himself and his personal matters, it's amazing. No one does that better. No one's better self-deprecating than him. But other songs where he just talks about something else that has little to nothing to do with himself or other stuff. I mean, it's like he either hits the mark, he either misses the mark, or it's just not handled properly. Like Castle sounded like Recovery. Tragic Endings sounds like Recovery Leftover. Frames sound like Relapse. A reprise of Relapse. All of which were good. I love them. I put those in my playlist. But it's like they sound literally like other things that I liked better than this album. This album itself doesn't stand up too much. But yes, he had those bad lines, but he has some really great lines. Like he talked about, go to war with me, you'll end up looted Timbuktu. I send you to a Kim Jong-un and Chintuk, and then he goes into these like and ruining your career and all the loo-doo-doo, like how he flows like that. No one does that. Barely anyone still does it. And he's like, I'm better now than I ever was. The world's screwed. It's already fucked. I'm still at the top, so everyone's just ashes blowing in the air. Kehlani sings that part. Then he goes and talks about, I feel somewhat responsible for the dumb little Blanco, the motherfucking batantola that dumped in the pond. Like, the way he does that. I would do it so much better, but it's like 4 in the morning, 3, 4 in the morning, because that's how I had to hear this. But, and it's, I mean, for every great line, for every 3 great lines, he's got about, no, 4 great lines, he's got about 2 somewhat like either cringy or you're thinking like, That's all I'm saying. And he even said 8-year-old with wordplay, some of these I'm like, maybe so. I mean, at this point, there's nothing really more for him to do. I want this to be his last one. Hopefully it is. I can't see him coming back 2-3 years from now at almost 50 doing this because of the subject matter he talks about. You've got like a time limit. If you go any more past that, people are going to be like, aren't you 50, like, get out of here. They'll start being disrespectful. But overall, it just didn't exactly meet up to par. And I bet you're saying, well, you should sit and dwell upon this longer. You didn't do that. You tried to get this out quicker. So most of the time, I'm sure with everybody, once you hear something once and you love it, you will continue to play that. If there's something you don't like, you got to re-listen to it over and over and over and over again. Then you might stand it, but you're not going to love it. That's what I got with this. When I hear certain things, like when I heard Kendrick's album first time, heard Eminem's Recovery first time, Kanye's My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy first time, MF Doom's Mad Villainy, instant. Barely any skippable tracks. To none. There were none. Or Kendrick, damn. No skippable. I listened to all the way through, and then I'll re-listen to it and re-listen to it all the way through and didn't feel tempted to skip. This one, I was tempted to skip. And I feel bad that this was like, I know some people are going to crucify him again because he can't do anything right now, as a people even says that on the album, but it just, in my opinion, it just wasn't up to par with some of his most recent work. But I mean, I just want to hear what you have to say about it. Did you like it? Did you hate it? Comment below. Tell me how much you really like this. I'm very interested to what you guys have to say. Subscribe. Please stick around. Stay a while. And if you unsubscribe just because I didn't like it, I mean, it's not really nice, but I mean, go ahead. I can't blame you. I can't stop you. I wouldn't go to. That's like free. It's free country, free YouTube until net neutrality is gone. But anyway, I thank you all so much for staying. Eminem, greatest ever. But like half of it was great. Half was. Thank you for watching. I will talk to you guys later.